My name is Conan, and today we're going to be talking about how food companies are keeping you fat, sick, and addicted. I went on a walk just now and I actually listened to one of my own podcasts, which is something I haven't really ever done. But I just thought, hey, why not just listen to myself talk for a bit? Usually I do listen to other people talk because I like to gain knowledge from outside sources apart from myself. That's obviously how I learn. That's how I study as well. But today I just kind of thought, hey, let me listen to my own voice. And I kind of got inspired to talk about this specific topic because I do know that some of my live streams as of recently have specifically been talking a lot about nutrition, especially like healthy food versus unhealthy food, processed foods versus whole foods, because it's something that I am very big on. It's something that I myself used to struggle with a lot. And just by me going through my own transformation of constantly relying on junk food and being this fat, chubby kid growing up, feeling really insecure by myself, and then going through this transformation where once I started to change the way I ate, it pretty much changed my entire life. It changed how I viewed myself. It changed how I looked physically. It changed how I felt internally. It changed how I slept. It changed how my confidence was. It just changed everything in my life. And that's why I'm so passionate about speaking on this. And I feel like it is my duty now to share my experiences and then also to help you guys go through hopefully the same experience, because I read this shocking statistic, but I believe it's around 70% of all Americans are obese and are overweight. And I just find that so shocking. And it's like, how is that acceptable? How can we live in a world where 70% of people are overweight, have chronic diseases, have inflammation, have issues with their sex drive, their libido, their confidence? Like, how is that even a thing? Because it isn't just like, okay, they're unhealthy, but how are they showing up for themselves? How are they showing up for their family, for their friends? Like, they're not going to show up as a confident leader. Of course not. They're going to feel insecure. They're not going to have the amount of energy that they would hopefully like to go travel, to explore, to take risks, to start businesses, to get that promotion at work so they can have more freedom in their lives, to set a good example for their kids, to set a good example for their wife, to actually attract the type of people that you want into your life, as opposed to just settling for what you currently have. Like, I knew from a very young age that I did not want to be average, and I had to really fight against it because I was hooked on the issue that I'm going to talk about today, on the junk food. And the junk food kept me soft, it kept me weak, it kept me reliant, and it just kept me stuck in this vicious circle where I couldn't get out of it. But as soon as I got out of it, it changed my entire life. And that's what I do for myself currently. It's what I help all of my clients do right now. We've helped hundreds of busy men by now already, helped them drop 20 to 50 pounds of just pure fats while getting muscle as well, all without really sacrificing their favorite foods or spending hours in the gym. So now let's touch on the actual topic at hand. I have a couple of notes written down here, so just to make my points a bit more concise, because as you guys know by now, hopefully, I tend to ramble quite a bit. I like to talk, I like to chit chat, and especially whenever I see a comment or a chat appear, I tend to kind of fall off track and I get off topic and then I get into this rabbit hole. So just to keep myself on track, I have a couple bullet points that I have written down here down below. So if you notice that I'm not looking at the screen, that is probably why. So first things first, here is my hook. Ever wonder why you can't stop eating chips, cookies, or fast food? Even when you're full, it is not your fault. It is designed that way. Like, these foods are literally designed to make you want to keep on eating more, right? So here, how food corporations, scientists, and big pharma profit from your addiction and sickness. And now this goes full circle. And by the end of this live stream, hopefully you will gain a better understanding of how it's not just the foods that you're eating, but then also the medications that you're taking. And I think it's just a really fascinating thing to think about big picture from a business perspective, because you got to keep in mind that all these food companies, they just care about profit, right? It's like they're running a business and the entire point of the business is to be in a profit, because if you're not making money from your business, you're going to be bankrupt, you're going to be out of business. Like, business relies on cash flow, and specifically having recurring customers, either reoccurring or recurring on a subscription, because without that, it's going to be really difficult for the business to obviously make a profit and then to keep reinvesting into whatever they're doing. So they don't care about your health, right? They just care about making money. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Businesses care about making money. So their goal, what is their goal? How can I make you just keep on coming for more? Are they gonna make foods that deliberately taste like crap and isn't as tasty? Of course not. Their goal is to make you crave, buy, and repeat. Like imagine a world where junk food didn't taste good. Junk food would just be out of business. It won't even be a thing because it's literally a lose-lose situation. We all know the downsides of eating junk food. Like we know it's not a healthy thing, yet we keep on eating it every single day. Why do we do that? Is it because we think it's healthy? No, of course not. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that, hey, what you're eating, hey, junk food isn't good for you. Like you talk to an obese person, like the statistic that I just shared, 70% of Americans are obese and overweight. Do you think that they are not aware that they're number one overweight and like the root cause of it is because they're eating junk food? Of course they're aware. Of course they know that, right? You don't have to tell them. They're fully aware. But then yet they keep on eating the junk food, right? And like, I'll tell you this right now, it's probably not their fault either. Like, yeah, sure, like, of course, hey, you should control the foods that go into your body. You should at the very least be able to stop that, blah, blah, blah. But like, if you are addicted to something, like for example, a crackhead, like if you're addicted to crack, like it is far easier said than done to stop. Like you could tell a crackhead, like, hey, crack is bad for you. Like the crackhead knows that crack is bad for him. Like he is fully aware, right? But maybe he doesn't know necessarily like what the trade-offs are, but he is fully aware that what he is doing right now is not good for him. It is not healthy, right? Similarly, fat people know that what they're putting into their bodies is not healthy for them, and it's not helping anything in their lives. They are fully aware of that. So I also think fat shaming people or telling them that they're wrong or that they're like making the bad choice, like yes, they should be reminded of that, but it should not be something that you should push down their throats. Like my channel here is for people who are ready to like hear the cold harsh truth, but it's not like I am running ads to fat people and say, hey, like you are fat, you are overweight. Like they know that, right? So I just don't want to like obviously put it down their throat because they are fully aware. So going back to the junk food, right? Something called the bliss point, where essentially the perfect combination of sugars, fats, and salts are all kind of mixed together and engineered to light up your brain's reward system. And now this is quite funny, but food scientists literally use dopamine studies to make their food as irresistible as possible. So they're all sitting in a lab, they're all just together, they're brainstorming, they're figuring out, they're doing experiments, but they're just ultimately trying to figure out how they can have you just keep on coming back for more, right? Like how can we make this cereal as addictive as possible? How can we make these cookies as addictive as possible? How can we manipulate the carb to fat to salt to sugar ratio to make it as flavorful as possible? So I've talked about this in the past before, but it goes beyond just the flavor in your mouth. Like the flavor is obviously the most important part, but something that a lot of people don't think about, which I honestly didn't even think about, but now that I know about this, like of course it makes sense, but it's the combination of the flavor with the consistency and the texture in your mouth. Notice how most junk food is in food form and not in liquid form. Like sure, yes, there's like some milkshakes that you can get, all these things, but the food itself, right? Like that is the most addictive part. Not just the flavor, but then also the way that it goes into your mouth. Rather, it's the crispiness, the chewiness, the softness, the crunchness, the hardness, all of it together. Like think of a chocolate chip cookie right now. Like that is not a natural thing that you see in nature, right? Like an apple is not gonna have that chewiness on the inside and that chewiness on the inside and then that crispiness on the outside. Like it's literally engineered to like be nice and crunchy on the outside and then nice and soft on the inside. And then especially if you take it right out of the oven where it still has that warmth and that depth and that's just irresistible. Like it's sometimes it's like you can't even describe it, right? It's like having literally an orgasm in your mouth where it's like you don't even question it. You're just like, I know this is a good feeling and I just want more of it, right? Like if you're having sex with someone, like you don't question the science behind what an ejaculation is. Like you know it's a good feeling and that is why you strive towards it. I know that's a really odd extreme example, but for a lot of these things that just spike your dopamine. Sometimes we just don't even question it. We just know that it is a good feeling. Therefore, we keep on coming back for more and more and more because we know it feels good we know it feels good in our body, and it's kind of addicting, right? Like it's a good feeling. So let me explain to you what hyperpalatable foods are. So these are foods engineered to hijack your brain's hunger signals. So an example would be Dorito chips or Oreos or McDonald's French fries or Starbucks Frappuccinos, right? The dopamine roller coaster essentially gives you short-term pleasure, but then it gives you a long-term crash. And we live in a society now where we want things instantly, right? Like we really have a hard time delaying our gratification, and we would so much rather have instant gratification. Like we live in a world literally designed and engineered now to have short-term pleasures and short-term gratification. You want something from Amazon, boom, you're one click away. You want it overnight, boom, you're one click away. Like we have become so impatient. We have become so like, we want things now, where we tend to not even think about the future anymore, right? Like we want the junk food now, knowing that, hey, down the line, it could cause health issues. And once again, I think we're all aware of that, but we would rather have the short-term pleasure now of eating the junk food and would rather have the repercussions later on in the future, because like we're just in the present right now. Like whatever feels good right now, let me do that, right? But if I think definitely as a society as a whole, if we can shift more towards long-term gratification instead of instant gratification, long-term gratification, right? Because that is where most of the dividends will start to pay off. One thing that kind of comes to mind right now is investing. Like I've been investing since I was 18 years old into the stock market, into some individual stocks, into some crypto, into some Bitcoin, Ethereum, mainly also just the S&P, ETFs, all these things. But I know that like I'm not gonna take any of it out until I'm like 60, 70, 80, right? Like probably a lot sooner than that, but I know that it's literally working for me in the background, but I am fully aware that I'm not gonna like get anything out of it now. Like, yes, the investments have gone up, but I'm fully patient, and I would so much rather just work a lot harder now and then reap the benefits of my hard work in the future than just use all my money now, go on vacations, go on trips, splash it at the bar, splash it at the parties, and then have nothing to show for it when I'm 30, 40, 50 years old, right? And I think if we can do that, not just when it comes to our food intake, but on just big picture, just in our life in general, you're gonna have a much more fulfilling life. But yeah, that's basically the whole dopamine roller coaster. And it's also unfortunate because if you're so used to eating all these junk foods, the Oreos, the McDonald's, the Starbucks, like eating real food suddenly kind of tastes boring, right? After eating all this processed food. And I noticed this for myself, like I had years, I think like even like over a decade of just eating junk food. Like as a kid growing up, I ate it all the time. In my early teenage years, I ate it all the time. And then when I tried to eat healthy, it was just so unpleasant. I'm like, this is boring. This sucks. This is so bland. Like, ew, this is gross. Like, because like my taste buds were just so used to having like an explosion of fireworks in my mouth, basically, in terms of like the different food, like the different flavors, the salts, the sugars, the textures, the consistencies. And if you're so used to eating that, and then if you transition into eating whole foods like chicken breast, apples, like fruits, like it's gross, like, right? Like, and I don't blame you. Like I had the exact same experience. I'm like, I don't like this. I would rather eat junk food, right? Because it tastes better. It feels better in my mouth, right? Instant gratification, short-term pleasure. That was all me, right? So I definitely know what it feels like trying to also transition from mainly eating junk foods to now trying to eat healthier, right? But there's a way out of this, which I'm also going to explain later on in today's life. So here are the hidden, and again, I was not aware of this until I obviously now back in hindsight, looking back at it and then also doing my research, but here are the hidden manipulation tactics that all these food companies use, whether it's Kellogg's, and we'll specifically talk about Kellogg's. They are evil, evil, evil. The breakfast company, like the cereal brand, or any other company that you may see at the grocery store, or even like the fast food places. So when you go into the grocery store, right? And I talked about this in the past before, but when you do grocery shopping, try to shop around the perimeter of the store. So try your absolute best to don't go within the aisles, but a lot of people make that mistake where they literally only shop within the aisles and not around the perimeter. But essentially the perimeter of the store, that is where all the fresh food lies, right? You got your fruits, your veggies, you got your proteins, your chicken, your beef, your dairy products, you got all the good stuff basically there, right? But a lot of people just don't do that, and they just like to go into the aisles. But most of these food companies, they know that, and they strategically put their product in placements of the grocery store to basically make it as visual as possible. So they use bright packaging and color psychology, like different colors, whether it's like a red color, yellow color, which those specific colors, by the way, are like hunger triggers, which is quite interesting to know. So yeah, they put it in like the perfect spots. They know exactly where to place their products. They know exactly what colors to use. They know exactly what branding to use to like really make it pop, right? It's like one thing that I'm thinking of right now is like walking by the cereal aisle, right? It's like, just imagine walking past a cereal aisle right now and you see all these different colors, all these different food products, like all these different placements, and you see all these like cartoons on the cereal box. And that's, by the way, and I'll touch about this now, but that's how they hook your kids as well in eating junk food, right? Because your kids will see the mascots on the cereal brand, right? It's like Tony the Tiger on the Frosted Flakes, or the Lucky Charm guy at the Lucky Charm box, or the Cocoa Pop monkey on the Cocoa Pop box, right? And now they associate this fun, interesting, playful, funny cartoon with their morning cereal, right? And they tend to be a bit more loyal to that now, right? And especially like now that your kids are hooked to eating this for breakfast every single morning, like you're pretty much obliged now to feed that to them forever, basically, or until they kind of grow up and maybe realize that it's not for them anymore. But yeah, obviously, like it becomes increasingly more difficult if your kids are hooked to the cereal. Like you don't want them to complain all the time. It's like, okay, now that you have shown them the cereal and they've tasted it a couple of times and they've seen their like the cereal box with the icons with the mascots, like, oh, I want to eat the thing Tony the Tiger says, and then they see all these commercials on TV, and obviously they see like, oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and then now they are hooked on it as well. And that is kind of how they get you from a really young age. That's literally how they got me, right? As I was a kid growing up, like that's literally the trap that I fell into, right? Like my parents one day decided to feed me a sugary box of cereal, and I was hooked. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be my quote unquote breakfast for the foreseeable future. I want this for breakfast. It is sugary. It is like tasty. It is good. Like I want it now, right? And if I didn't have it, like I remember this one day where I had cereal all the time, and then this one day I think we ran out of cereal, and I remember I was just so upset, and I think my mom suggested me to like make oatmeal or something, which by the way, it's so funny now because now I love eating oatmeal, but she was like, hey, just make some oatmeal, add some brown sugar on top too. I was like, this is disgusting, this is gross, I don't want this, because I was so used to eating like that sugary cereal for breakfast. I believe my favorite was Crave Kellogg's or something, where they literally, it's like the pillows and they had like chocolate inside of it. Like it's so good, so good. And it's like, how can you compare that to eating oatmeal? Like the two and two don't even like compare, they don't even go hand in hand. It's like, of course, the Crave cereal is going to be far superior than eating a bland, boring bowl of oatmeal, right? And I remember I just got so upset whenever we ran out of cereal. So I assume that my parents witnessed that. They're like, okay, we are never going to run out of cereal again because we do not want this crazy kid screaming at us first thing in the morning. Like, let us just feed him the sugary cereal, let him be content, and then he can carry on with the rest of my day or rest of his day, right? So just kind of a fun little story there. But yeah, going back to the whole breakfast thing, right? Like the idea of breakfast being the most important meal of the day was literally promoted by Kellogg's or by all these other food companies than by science. Like science didn't say like, oh, you need to eat breakfast as soon as you wake up. Like Andrew Huberman, who is this famous scientist doctor right now, who's really big on social media, literally says that you should not be eating first thing in the morning. Like, yes, you should eat at some point, but at the very least, delay your breakfast by 1 hour. So don't break your fast until 1 hour upon waking. Like, a lot of people mistake hunger for dehydration. So even if you are hungry first thing in the morning, just try to not eat within the first hour and just rather drink water, and you'll notice that your hunger literally vanishes. Maybe have some electrolytes too if you want. Have a black cup of coffee to suppress your appetite too if you want. But like, you should not be like eating a sugary bowl of cereal as soon as you wake up in the morning. And yeah, again, like the whole notion of like breakfast is the most important meal of the day is a complete scam. It's a complete myth. I do not subscribe to that. But that is literally what the food companies do to obviously make you buy their cereals, their breakfast items. And then that's also how they hook your kids to want to eat that too. And if you don't think about it, then you're obviously going to subscribe to that idea too. And then you, next to your kid, are going to eat the sugary cereal, right? Like, it's complete nonsense. But yeah, the notion that breakfast is essential originated from the late 19th century, so late 1900 or 1800s, I believe, marketed by campaigns by big companies like Kellogg's, Eggo, to promote their cereals, right? Like, imagine you have a company and you make this product and it's supposed to be eaten during dinner time, right? Like, you are going to convince the world that dinner is going to be the most important meal of the day. Of course you are, because your product literally is designed to be eaten for dinner, right? So it's like, of course you're going to tell everyone during your marketing campaigns, to all your customers, whenever you run your ads, whenever you make your content, that, hey, you need to eat dinner, and here is why it is so important for you. And of course you can like handpick studies that claim that, oh, dinner is the most important meal of the day, just like all these breakfast companies handpick studies to showcase that, oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Like, all of it is just nonsense. Like, whatever your bias is, of course you're gonna like find studies that showcase your bias. Of course you are, right? Like, probably I myself probably do that too. Like, I myself, like, I'm fully, right now, as you can tell, I'm fully going against breakfast. And I can show you all the studies that go against breakfast. But then if someone out there is saying that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, it's like they're going to show me all the studies that showcase why breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right? So we really got to keep that in mind, that whatever your point is, of course, people are going to be biased and they're going to show specific results, specific claims, specific studies that back up their claims, that back up whatever they're saying. So just really keep that in mind. But yeah, that is my kind of little rant on breakfast. And now, while eating a healthy breakfast is beneficial for many, scientific research does not consistently support that it is the most important meal of the day for everyone. I literally went live on this yesterday, but I just think, yeah, breakfast is the biggest scam ever. I use intermittent fasting. It works best for me. But big picture, like, while we're on this topic, if you don't like enjoy intermittent fasting, you can eat your breakfast. Breakfast literally means breaking the fast. So you can break your fast whenever you want, as soon as you wake up, but as long as you hit your calories, you hit your macros, you're going to be good to go. But I've just found for myself, I just enjoy just being in a fasted state earlier on in the day, so I don't have brain fog. I'm more productive. I can work uninterrupted without having just the thought of food either being in my stomach or thinking about food, right? So here's the domino effect. From food, we talked about the food, right? How it's manipulated to kind of be hooked to keep you addicted, all that stuff. But here's how it goes from food to pharma. Now, this is something really, really interesting, right? Fraser, PB, what is up, Cohnan? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, my man. Haven't heard from you in a really long time. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully, yeah, definitely message me on Instagram. Let's catch up. But yeah, let me wrap up this quick little live stream because yeah, literally prime example. I said at the start of this live, whenever I see a comment, I tend to get distracted. And now that I see the comment, I literally got distracted and I lost my train of thought. But going back to my point, from food to pharma. So think about it in this way. It's like a little loop. You eat the processed food leads to obesity, obesity leads to inflammation, inflammation leads to disease, disease leads to medication dependency, right? Like, it goes full circle. You eat the junk food, you gain the weight, you get inflammation, you get sick, and then guess what? You're gonna go to your fat doctor, which of course he's gonna be fat because he's in the exact same loop as you, and he's gonna prescribe you. He's not gonna tell you to fix your diet. He's not gonna tell you to eat more fruits or more vegetables. I mean, sure, maybe he will, just because he thinks he has to, but he himself definitely isn't doing that. He's gonna give you a pill. He's gonna prescribe you a medicine. He's going to give you Ozempic. He's going to give you just whatever big pharma is paying him to tell you to do. And he's going to give you that, right? And so here's the scary parts. The same corporations of these junk food companies invest into pharmaceutical companies. They literally invest into them. right? And so it's like, now that you think about that, like not from a just, what's the word here? But yeah, not to think about it like too much into depth, but like if these junk food companies are literally investing their dollars into pharmaceutical companies that keep you hooked on their pill, kind of like it's a bit sus, right? Like a bit sus. And now, as you can tell, it kind of goes full circle. So you got to keep in mind that doctors, they treat symptoms, but usually not the root causes, which really sucks, because obviously within our program, we're all about building up the habits necessary, not just for you to lose the weight, but actually keep it off for good. Like, we don't prescribe pills, we don't give you medication, we give you the habits necessary to lose the weight and keep it off for good. Because once anything turns into a habit, it'll be so much easier to keep the weight off, right? Just like you currently are into the habit of eating junk food, imagine having the habit of eating healthy, of living a healthy lifestyle, right? It's like you don't have to think twice about just doing whatever you want to do in order to reach your goals, right? Because it's turned into a habit. Just like brushing your teeth. Hopefully for everyone watching this right now, brushing your teeth has turned into a habit where you don't need to have any discipline or any willpower to brush your teeth. Like, you just do it because it's part of your identity. It's like, yes, I am a toothbrusher. Right? It's like I want to have clean teeth. I want to have white teeth. That is why I brush my teeth 2 times a day. And I floss. Hopefully you guys floss as well, right? So Big Pharma's billion-dollar business is to literally keep you alive but not thriving. They want to make sure that you're just above water, just enough to kind of like be content, right? But they don't want you thriving, right? They just want you just enough so you can eat their junk food, take your medication, and then eat your junk food again, and then keep on taking your medication, and just take your money and be in this recurring subscription that you're not even fully aware of, right? But hopefully by me just, at the very least, shining a light on this just makes you a bit more aware of just everything that's going on when it comes to like the world we live in, the food companies, the pharmaceutical companies, just everything kind of goes into full circle. And so now that I have shone the light on this, it's like, okay, thanks, Cohnan. You just ruined my perspective on junk food, on pharmaceuticals. Now what, right? You're just gonna leave me there? You're gonna leave me hanging? No, of course not. I'm gonna give you a solution. Of course, I cannot do this for you, right? But what I can do is, at the very least, just give you some tips, give you some helpful tips that you can hopefully start implementing right away, if at the very least you actually want to change it. Because I talk with a lot of people throughout the day, right? And they are fully aware of the situation they're in, yet they would rather stay the same, not change, because they're content, right? Going back to my previous points, the Big Pharma's billion-dollar business is to keep you alive but not thriving. A lot of people, they're just doing fine, right? And unfortunately, sometimes they really need to hit rock bottom in order for them to like actually make the change. Like, going back to what I said earlier, a lot of people are fully aware that what they're doing right now, eating junk food, not exercising, that it's not good for them. Of course they know that, right? But that doesn't mean that they're gonna change, right? Because there's a reason why still 70% of Americans are overweight and obese. The only reason why someone would change, typically speaking, from at least what I found, is when they truly hit rock bottom. Whether it's they get a heart attack, or they almost get hit by a car because they couldn't move fast enough, right? Or they had this huge medical bill pile up, and they're like, oh my goodness, like I can't afford not to be healthy, right? It's like a lot of people say like, oh, I can't afford your program. Well, it's like, can you afford not to get into this program? It's like, imagine you don't invest into your health. Like, do you think another couple of years of low energy, more medical bills piling up, like, do you think that's actually gonna be cheaper for you? Like, you're probably going to save a lot more money by simply investing into a program, investing into yourself, eating healthier, than it is to not do that, keep on relying on the medications, keep on relying on the junk food. And not only that, you're spending thousands of dollars on that, but then you're also like buying the junk food, you're also costing it in lack of productivity, lack of energy, lack of sleep, being lethargic, brain fog. Like, you're paying so much more than just for the junk food or for the medical bills that you're paying for. Like, you're paying for literally everything. So like, ask yourself this question, like, is it really worth it for me to continue on living this lifestyle of eating junk food, eating hyper palatable processed food? Or am I far better off just investing into myself, investing into a program and actually taking charge? And then therefore I know that by me being healthy, I'll have more energy, I could be more productive. And I'll just tell you this, like, no one ever who I've worked with has regretted getting into better shape. No one ever. I don't think anyone has ever said that to me, or just in general. Have you ever heard anyone with a six-pack say, you know what, like, I wish I didn't work this hard to get a six-pack. I wish I would actually just like stay fat. No one says that. You don't hear it, right? Just like, I mean, I was gonna use the money analogy. I have heard some crazy stories about people making way too much money, and it kind of made them like go down the rabbit hole of like being depressed, all this stuff. But like being jacked, being handsome, like being healthy, like you're not gonna regret being healthy. Like I'll just tell you that right now. At least from my own personal experience, helping hundreds of other people, like it just doesn't happen. So anyway, going back to, obviously we shone light on it, but now let me tell you how to actually break the cycle. So step number one, and you've already done step number one, so I want to congratulate you on this, but awareness is the first step. Now that you're aware, congratulations. At the very least, you now know what is going on, because you'd be surprised. A lot of people go through life and they have no idea what's going on, right? They have no idea how these food companies are manipulating them to be hooked, to be addicted to this food. They just kind of go through life without even questioning it, right? So the very fact that you are aware of it and you know what's going on, like, I want to applaud you for that. It's like, well done. You watched this live stream, hopefully watched the entire thing. Hopefully you didn't skip around or watch it on 2x speed, but hopefully you were just like fully aware now. So that's the most important part. Number two, now this is actually where if you actually want to change it, you're going to have to actually do something about it, right? So what I recommend is eat whole, natural, single ingredient foods. So I know it's easier said than done, right? And when I say whole, natural, single ingredient foods, literally think of foods that only have one ingredient. How many ingredients does a banana have? Just one, right? Whereas how many ingredients does banana bread have? Multiple ingredients, right? One is a whole, natural, single ingredient food. One is a hyper palatable processed food. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that part out, right? But try your best to eat whole, natural, single ingredient foods, and now basically retrain your taste buds. So your taste buds are really amazing in terms of, and just your body in general, like it's really resilient and it's amazing. It is resilient, but it's also really flexible in terms of like, hey, if you just eat a certain way for a couple weeks, couple months, like you can train your taste buds to actually like crave more of the foods that you eat more often. I showcase this study all the time, but we crave the foods that we eat more often. So try your best to go through, at the very least, 2, 3, 4 weeks, however long it takes, to just eat 80% of the time. So not all the time, you can still just 80% of the time, but primarily eat single ingredient, whole, natural, single ingredient foods. And this way you get to retrain your taste buds to almost in a way, almost like reset your dopamine balance. Because right now your dopamine receptors are like all out of whack. Like you literally are only wanting to eat junk food. But I guarantee you, if you just slowly but surely switch towards more whole foods, right? Once again, it's easier said than done, but just make the small little steps. Like if right now you're eating like 100% junk foods, maybe one of your meals, make it less processed. And then the following week, take out another meal and replace it for more of a whole food meal, right? So just take small little steps at a time to slowly but surely get yourself out of this. But I've actually found for most successful people, it's just to completely do it cold turkey, right? So empty your fridge, empty your pantry, just get rid of all the food and replace it with healthy food, right? At least that way you'll be surrounded by healthy food, and at the very least it'll be a lot more convenient for you to eat the healthy food, right? This way you get to reset your dopamine balance, and yeah, if you stick with this for 2 to 3 weeks or so, your taste buds will start to adjust, right? Now, when you're eating, try to prioritize protein. So think of your whole natural single ingredient, or sorry, not whole natural single ingredient foods, but think of like your chicken breast, your turkey, your beef, your steak, your eggs, low fats, dairy products, Greek yogurts, whole milk. Think of those foods, right? Then think of your fruits and veggies. So once again, lean source of protein, any type of fruit, any type of veggie. There are certain fruits and veggies that are higher in calories than others, but you're not at the point yet where you should like worry too much about that. If you're gonna be eating fruit and veggies, like I'm gonna be applauding you, like well done. Like you're already doing most of the hard work. Hydration, make sure you stay hydrated. Going back to what I said earlier, we often mistake hunger for dehydration. So if you simply drink 2 glasses of water before you think about eating, you'll notice that you're not actually that hungry. Problem solved, right? Like most of our issues of overeating and snacking can actually be solved by drinking more water. So make sure that you have water on you at all times. I typically tell my clients if they have a hard time drinking more water by simply just having water on you. So whenever you're running errands, whenever you're going to work, whenever you're at the gym, whenever you're at work, whenever you're wherever you are, just have a water bottle on you. And just by simply having it around you, you're just gonna be sipping on it. Right? Easy said than done. Last thing here is sleep. I made a brand new specific YouTube video on this, specifically talking about this topic. Sleep. Sleep, 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 sleep. Do not sleep on your sleep. And this is arguably the easiest thing anyone can start doing right away. It doesn't require you to physically do anything other than lay in your bed, close your eyes, and just do nothing for 8 hours. Like, that sounds so silly, but like, your life could change by simply fixing your sleep. So if you can do these things, prioritizing protein, eating more fruits and more veggies, staying hydrated, and sleeping more, you're gonna change your life. Like, I guarantee you, 100%. And I know it's not a sexy answer. I know it's not like, oh, you gotta take the supplement, you gotta do this juice detox, this cleanse, like none of that crap. Like, just easy, sustainable things that you can incorporate into your lifestyle right now to change your life for the better. The more real food you eat, the less junk food you'll crave. So that is it for today's live stream. Hopefully you guys took some value out of it. If you guys do have any specific questions when it comes to me about any of this stuff that I just talked about, feel free to comment it down below. Or if you want to have a conversation with me, feel free to DM me on Instagram. The handle will be in the description down below as well. We'll have a chat. And if you are looking to lose around 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 to up to 100 pounds of fat in the next couple of months and years, what you can actually go ahead and do is schedule a free consultation call with me down below. We'll essentially go over your current goals, we'll go over your current struggles, and create a game plan together to help you absolutely crush them in the next couple of months. I'll see you there. Peace.